Hey guys, welcome back to the Week 8 slate of the NFL Bell. Joined with me is my co-host, Mr. LouBetya, the person who's in love with Mr. Jeff George and the million teams that he's played for, as you'll see throughout this slideshow. Lou, how are you?
I don't know why you're fucking giving it away at the
Because I
top.
have to. Because listen, you took creative liberty, and I
It's the
think people are going to start to appreciate this creative liberty with Jeff George
it's
today.
the greatest streak in sports history is my mentioning of Jeff George on both NFL and UFC breakdowns. I just want to go over last week. Last week was not great, but my two biggest bets were Mark Andrews over and the Ravens. So just because of those, I did all right. But like Green Bay fucking sucks. Seattle didn't get the team total, but one of the keys to betting is you learn week to week certain things about certain teams. So it's a loss, but I wasn't heavy on it, and it led me to a couple things this week that I like. So feeling good about this slate. I like college a lot better than I like the pros, but
Mhm.
found some spots I really like on this card.
Yeah, definitely a better week compared to last week and the week before. I mean, there's definitely a much more spots, I would say. And then there are some injury news that we have to go over that just got announced today, even. So glad we waited to do the stream as always on Wednesdays. And you know what? Sometimes maybe even Thursday. I have the thought in my head, but that won't work. Let's go ahead and get this shit started. First game of the week, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. The Bills are 8.5 point favorites, and I don't know how people can keep trusting them at 8.5 points over the past couple of weeks. Total set to 42.5. First half line is favoring the Bills by 4.5 points, with the over and under set at 20.5. Lou, what do you think about this one?
All right, so this is one of the games I have to do the three leg same game parlay on and get my free bet. So
Yep.
like I've already been like sort of digging into props and thinking about this. So I have a lot of notes for this stupid game, which is weird for a game that I really don't want to bet. But anyway, so Kincaid or Dawson Knox is out,
Hmm.
and the Bills run a lot of two tight end sets. So my thinking was, okay, well, they'll just slot in their next guy. It's Quentin Mars. He will probably not be playing the field offensively a lot. I cannot see him sliding into Kincaid's role. So who is the beneficiary of this? It's probably going to be Shakir and probably going to be Gabe Davis because Gabe Davis now will move up. Like he'll probably get a few more targets, and Shakir will be on the field a little more. There's no props on Shakir right now, but he's probably going to be sitting at like 19 and a half. I may look at it. We'll see what we get there. So I really want to bet Kincaid overs, but they know. Like they're already juicing it and they know. So I don't know that I want to do that. Gabe Davis hasn't been reliable. Diggs is reliable, but his numbers are always so high. So I don't really know what to do with props there yet. The one thing is I like the Bills. They're a teaser piece, but I don't like teasing the Thursday game with late stuff. But there's a couple of things I'll mention is that Tampa Bay is in the top 5 in blitz rate, but Josh Allen against the blitz this year has been like insanely good. 67% completion percentage, 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, almost 8 yards per attempt. So he loves getting blitzed. He does well with it. I don't know how like Mayfield's starting to regress. I know Buffalo has a lot of injuries. And that's what it's kind of keep me off the 8.5. But it's gonna be a cold, windy Buffalo night. I mean, I know Mayfield's used to this from being in Cleveland, but like Tampa Bay is not. They're coming off a horrible loss to Atlanta. So I just don't know who you trust here. I think if you tease the Bills, that's fine. But I don't really, I really don't have a good read on what to do. Even the first half, 4.5 is like maybe all right, but I don't have a good read here. Maybe you have something better.
This was a tricky one. I'll say that because, as you mentioned, both teams on a little bit of a skid, coming off of bad losses. I think this is more of a motivational spot
We,
for
we,
the
we can do,
Bills.
we can do this by the way, right? With Fight Talkcast, we can give a TD score for each game.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for that.
I'm going with Shakir. I'll go with Shakir because he's going to be like +6, +700. It's going to be insane. I'll look it up while you're going. God.
Yeah, so it's hard to trust either of these teams coming off of the losses they just suffered last week, especially the Bills on a really bad skid over the past 2 weeks. I know they beat the Giants, but that was a bad look. They weren't supposed to win that game. look at that last play with Waller. It'll be ingrained in my head throughout this whole season. But you at this point, you have to look at stylistically who's the better team, and it's obviously the Bills. I mean, the number indicates that. But their defense with Matt Milano out is struggling big time. And he's the person that holds that defense together, and people have been throwing all over him and finding some success. Now, that would shade me to take the Mike Evans overs, but there's talks of him being traded, so you don't know where his head is at. A lot of teams are interested in Mike Evans' services because the dude's a top receiver and can instantly impact any offense. So I'm not going to touch that. I'm shying away. For me, what I like the most, you mentioned that Tampa Bay is top 5 in blitz rate. I did look that up, and I think that that's going to help Josh Allen when it comes to rushing the ball. So for me, Josh Allen rushing yards is going to be something I'm looking at towards the over. I haven't looked at the number yet. Let's see where we're standing.
I thought it was 23 the last I looked, but
I'll pull it up right now. And the number just moved to 9. Jesus.
22 and a half.
Yeah, 22 and a half on Bet Online as well. So I'll be taking that for sure. And then for me, Kincaid receptions. With Dawson Knox going out, I don't think any other tight end is going to really benefit from the usage here except for Kincaid. We saw last week how much he was involved, especially down the line. He really went to Kincaid over and over again, and they're starting to build some chemistry there. So give me, I was about to say Concade. Kincaid receptions on the over here right now. That is set at, if this loads, Kincaid over 3.5, but that's juiced at -173. If you take the 4.5, I feel like that's still fine. We all know that Diggs is going to be double covered, and he'll probably still get his receptions at 6.5. But I think the number at Kincaid at 4.5 should be just fine. His receiving yards right now is set at 42.5. I don't know how much I like that because, I mean, he is a guy that catches the ball and gets a lot of yards after the catch. But I feel like there are going to be a lot of these third and manageable situations where they target him if they're not going towards the run game, if it's not working. Because Tampa Bay does stop the run quite a bit. Last week, what did they allow? I mean, obviously, Bijan Robinson wasn't getting targeted at all. He was sick. They only allowed 59 to Tyler Algier, who's a pretty hard runner. And Atlanta is really a run-based team, in my opinion. So for me, I'm going to be targeting the pass game here. So give me Kincaid props and the Allen rushing. But yeah, I do agree that the Bills are a teaser piece.
Give Fight Talk a touchdown prop, man. I gave mine. I gave the whack job one.
You know, the touchdown prop for me is going to be Josh Allen. I think he's going to be able to escape these blitzes and run himself into a 20-yard touchdown. That's my prediction.
So we have no other props for TDs past this game. We'll just have to speculate.
Yeah.
All right. Look at this gorgeous
Woo.
mane of hair. New
Man.
Orleans at Indy. This line is flipped. Indy's 1.5. I don't know if this is a fucking overreaction to last week's game with Cleveland. I don't know if this is a reaction to all the stuff going on in New Orleans. Cars throwing people under the bus. Olave got arrested. I mean, and then like said, bro, I play for the Saints. I'm like, oh, it was good. So I don't know, man. But this is kind of a weird line movement here. And the total is bumped up a little bit too. Wiz, I'm having a problem reading this game. I'm probably just laying off it altogether. I don't know what you're looking at here.
Yeah, I'm probably laying off it altogether too. But we have to say it. First Henry Ruggs and now Olave. What's up with Derek Carr? What's up with Vandersloot?
He must be fun to hang out with.
Mr. Vandersloot's is driving these receivers crazy. I do think that the Colts are the rightful favorites in this spot. Their defense does hold up a little bit. I know they allowed a lot of points last week to the Browns, but the Browns are a much better offense than the Saints. The only reason why I wouldn't back the Colts here is because Gardner Minshew is a choke job. He's very inconsistent. He played really well offensively last game and had a lot of those rushes that he was getting, but then he comes in another week and he'll do an absolute stinker. The Saints offense is in shambles. I mean, the only player you can really target is Alvin Kamara. That's going to be my touchdown pick there, Alvin Kamara. But I don't want anything to do with this game. I'm probably laying off as well. If you look at how much rushing yards the Saints allowed last week, where is this at? My internet's not loading. I need to pay for internet. But I don't think that Jonathan Taylor is gonna find too much success here. So, yeah, I'm staying off completely. What do you think, Lou?
I'm not going to bet it, but if I'm going to have to give a touchdown prop here, let's go with my boy Shaheed. You're always going to get decent prices with him. And the thing is Carr's not completing a lot of passes downfield, but he's throwing more passes downfield than anybody in the league right now. So I'll take the shot at Shaheed, but really no confidence here in this game. So
I don't blame you.
let's move on to a
On
game
to
I
the
actually like a little better, but go ahead.
We have the Jaguars at the Steelers. Jags are 2.5-point favorites. The total set at 41.5, with the first half line favoring the Jags by 1.5, and the total at halftime is set at 20.5.
So I am going to wait. I'm going to sit and wait on this line. I am going to hope to get +3. If I don't, I'll probably just buy it up. I like Pittsburgh a lot here. The offense is getting healthier. Nice road win last week for Pitt. They were the beneficiary of a few missed kicks, but still, they played really well, especially in the second half. Pickett's starting to look weirdly better. I've brought this up with Tomlin before, that he's 56-30 as a dog ATS. That record is way better as a home dog. And the Sharps hit Pittsburgh early, and now the public money's been coming on Jacksonville. There's a lot I like about the Pittsburgh side here. I will take them if it gets to 3. And if not, like I said, I'll buy it up. I haven't mentioned anything about Jacksonville at this point. I don't think I need to. This feels like a spot play for me. I mean, this game was in Jackson. And not only that, but like last thing I'll say about Pittsburgh, they're 4-2. The 2 losses, they got smoked by the Niners, and they just got smoked and had an awful game against Houston. Every other game, every close game, they win. And I project this to be probably a one-possession game. So Pitt's defense is playing really well down the stretch in these games. Pitt's offense they're limiting mistakes. So I think it might only take one Lawrence mistake to open the door for Pitt. So give me Pittsburgh to win outright and definitely to cover.
Yeah, I'm gonna be on the opposite side here. I think the Jaguars, off of a long week of rest, I think it's gonna serve them well, heal up the injuries that they've had, and the offense is starting to get back together, and Ridley's starting to catch his balls. No pun intended. I just don't like the offense with the Steelers. I know they're coming off of a nice win against the Rams, but we even said it ourselves. That was a very one-dimensional Rams team that really couldn't move the ball, and with Kyron Williams because he was injured. And that's the main ball carrier for them, and he's the guy that's going on first and second down at times. So without that, you're going to have a very weak offense, and when you have a defense as strong as the Steelers, it's going to help. I'm not going to say this is not going to be a sweat, so it's only going to be a one-unit position for me, but I will take the Jags -2.5. I think they're overall the better team. Their defense does not compare to the Steelers, but I don't think that they're no slouches. And on the offensive side of the ball, I think Lawrence's newfound ability, or he just suddenly remembered that he can run. I think that's going to help him out a lot in this game against this defense, because they do tend to allow the quarterback to run. So give me the Jags spread here. And
I'm
what's
going
your
to
quarterback?
go ahead.
What's your quarterback? What's your touchdown pick?
I'm going to go pick it. I'm going to pick it on a sneak.
We're both going-
17-13 win for Pittsburgh on a sneak in the fourth quarter.
We're going both quarterbacks. I'm going Trevor Lawrence. Another
like
25-yard run.
I may parlay that. I kind of like it.
Let's do it.
Parlay both QBs.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right, Houston, Carolina. Carolina stinks. They're winless. They're off a bye, so that's something. They're the number 1 and number 2 picks in the league, so that's pretty cool. Houston, a road favorite. Hard to fathom, I suppose, when the season started, but here we are. And yeah, go ahead. What do you got?
I'm gonna say a 4-letter word. Pass. Pass. Hell no. I don't want nothing to do with this game. Both teams stink. The Texans stink a little bit less, but on the road they tend to stink a little bit more.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick Houston for the sake of the show. I feel like this is a trap. I can never bet Carolina. I don't know what number you'd have to give me to feel good about it. The funny thing is I bet Carolina earlier in the year. I bet them against the Saints, and they covered with the right scoring at the end. They get the 2. But even that, like, they were kind of dominated the whole game. Their defense just hung in, and the Saints offense, it turns out, stinks. So I think Houston can at least move the ball a little better. I think Houston's defense is solid. I mean, this total moving up is kind of surprising to me because other than Adam Thielen, I don't know how Carolina really scores. And it's not like Houston's putting up 30-some points a game. So, like, I'd probably like the under a lot more than I'd like a side. I think even if Carolina keeps this close, it's got to be like a 17-14 game. Dude, the whole league now is like unders, man. And, like, we got a couple on this card coming up that are like, we got one that's 36.5, which is like getting into Iowa territory here. But I think the under's probably the preferred play if I had to play anything here. And as far as the TD goes, man, I don't fucking know. Like, Miles Sanders feels like he's due. And, like, my guy Dave Lochran, who does football stuff, and lives in my area. He's been trashing Miles Sanders for, like, he's an Eagles fan, but he's been trashing Miles Sanders all year. And he makes the very good point that, like, when Carolina pays him all that money, Miles Sanders, like, dude, anybody can look really good behind the Eagles O-line. Like, anybody. The problem is, if you're going to be somebody that's, like, running the ball a lot for a team like Carolina, you need a guy who can get yards after contact. And Sanders has never been a guy that gets yards after contact. Like, he gets hit, he fucking goes down. So, like, he's not really effective. But, like, man, just pass interference in the end zone, 1-yard run. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't really know for this game. Like, I would never bet a touchdown prop here. But if that's the new format we're doing, I'll do it.
Yeah, I feel like this should stay. It's kind of fun. I'm actually going with Chuba Hubbard for the touchdown. Okay. He can get 30, 40 plus after contact if he gets clear. So give me Chuba.
Ugh, what a game. All right, next.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, look at that.
Jeff George appearance. That's number 2. We got the Philadelphia Eagles going up against the DC Redskins. Okay, we're keeping it, toned down this week.
I've still got like 8 more weeks of names to come up with.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Can't all be winners.
Philly favored by 6.5 points, opened at 6. Total set at 43.5. First half number favoring Philly by 3.5 points, with the total set at 21.5.
Look, this is another game like that. Just you look at it and it screams bet the Eagles coming off a big win, but and the Skins are coming off like an absolute fucking debacle against Tyrod Taylor. Like, they looked so bad in that game, and like at the same time, there's stuff I don't like on the Eagles side right now. Like, Jalen Hurts looked a little banged up. I know, and look, you can look at the final score of that game against Miami, and you can look at the last drive, which the Eagles did. They had 3 4th downs they converted or whatever. And I'm not one of these fucking people that ever complains about the refs, because I got friends who do that. And every play is a penalty, and like, they're the worst. But my God, dude, was this skewed so badly for the Eagles on Sunday night? Everything was a goddamn penalty. The missed face mask. And you could say, oh, well, it didn't matter. They got the pick 6 next play. It's like, yeah, but that could have been a 14-point swing. I mean, like, you just don't know. Now, kudos to the Eagles defense. Like, they played great. The penalty disparity was bad. And the NFL, the gods have a weird way of, like, dealing with that. It's a divisional game. We just went through this a few weeks ago. The game went to overtime. I haven't been able to figure out the Skins all year, but man, if this gets to 7.5, I'll take a shot on the Skins. I think you can tease this game and just take the Birds outright. But I kind of think this is another just greasy Skins play the Eagles tough, kind of weird game. You're also just throw a unit on every single guy on the Eagles D-line to get a sack in this game. You may as well. Like, you want a touchdown prop for this? Eagles defense is my touchdown prop for this game. They'll either strip sack Howell, look at a pick 6. I think that's probably your best way to do it over anything else. And the last thing I'll say is Tyrod Taylor was completing a bunch of bombs last week. Like, the Giants weren't scoring, but dude, he was getting like 30, 40-yard passes all day against this defense. What do you think A.J. Brown's going to do to this defense? Even if Hurts is 50%, what's A.J. Brown going to do to the secondary? So I'm just telling you, there you go. See, Fight Talk knows. I'm just telling you that something in my head tells me this is such a trap to bet the Eagles. And if it's such a trap to bet the Eagles, then I got to be on the other side of it. So I'm going to wait. It looks like more public money's coming in on birds. I'll wait till it gets to 7, 7.5, and I'll hit the skins. I'll hate it, but I'll do it because these are the spots that I know I have to hit. I just got to clench my butt cheeks and hope for the best.
Yeah, I think completely different here. I think the close game narrative from last time out, I think the Eagles are going to use that to motivate them here. But I'm not taking the full game spread. I'm going to be taking the first half -3.5. I think they come out here hot. And with all of the trade talk rumors with everyone on the defense for the Redskins, yeah, that's not good. Chase Young and Montez Sweat looking to get dealt. I don't think they play a lot just because they probably don't want to risk the injury fact where they can't get a trade anymore. So I'm just going to stay pretty simple here and take it to the 3.5 at first half line. I think A.J. Brown hits his yards. I think A.J. Brown is a touchdown pick for me as well. He's going to absolutely kill this defense. So, yeah, give me the Eagles first half spread. That's it. Very short for me on this one.
This might be the kind of game you play props and not a line. And Justin, nobody gives two fucks about the Raiders.
Nope.
We're nowhere talking about that team. This is not Raiders chat. You were once again
geeks.
You were once again in the wrong chat. Here we go. This is for you. The Rams at the Cowboys. And I think this is a really good game. I think I have a good play on this one. Dallas is 6.5-point favorite. Coming off a bye week. I'm dying over here because of Justin. And the Raiders are making me sick. The Rams are coming off a really weird loss where they just couldn't convert a field goal or an extra point. And they just kind of collapsed. Darrell Henderson did the best he could, but it's Darrell Henderson. What's he supposed to do? Your thoughts on this matchup? Both good against the spread this year. I must say that. Both positive records.
I think the Cowboys are going to win by double digits here. This is a spot for me. The Rams still without Kyron Williams. They're going to have their struggles. And if they struggled with the Steelers defense last week, I can only imagine what the Cowboys are going to do to them. Not saying the Cowboys defense is necessarily better than the Steelers defense, but when you have better corners, that's going to limit the passing game now too. And they're already pretty decent against the run. So just adding that factor to the game, I think the Rams are not going to score that much this game. So I'll probably look towards their team total under. More importantly for me, this is probably going to be a Dallas Cowboys first half team total over if it's 13.5 or lower. I will be taking that pretty largely. This is one of my bigger bets for this slate. I think the Cowboys are better than the Rams all over the ball. I don't think they're going to be able to stop. This is probably going to be a breakout game for why am I forgetting his name? Help me out here. Running back, Cowboys.
Pollard.
Pollard. Yeah, this is going to be a breakout game.
Emmitt Smith.
Emmitt Smith is going to have a breakout game in this game. He's been on a little bit of a leash over the past couple of weeks. I think this is the game where he goes off because the Rams against the run aren't the best. So give me Pollard overs and give me the Cowboys first half team total over. This is also a teaser spot for me.
Yeah, this is turning into a week where you and I are just going to be against each other the whole day, and I love it.
Bring it on.
It's good for the show. I like the Rams, but not for reasons that are anything other than Dallas. I don't think is the kind of team that should be more than a touchdown against anybody right now. They blow out really bad teams, like the Jets when the Jets were first day of Zach Wilson, but. I don't know, man. I can't say I was super inspired by Dallas against the Chargers. I mean, I don't know, man. There's something wrong with this team. And you're talking about the secondary of Dallas. I feel like one of them, like Puka or Kupp, could burn this team if the Rams are in a pass heavy script. I just, it's too many points for me. There's no bet yet. This is another one where Dallas is a very publicly bet team. So I'm going to monitor it. And if it gets to 7.5, and if it gets to more, I might strike. As far as the touchdown prop goes, since I'm on the Rams side, this is like my bet all year, like the last 2 years. So I'm just going to go back to the well. Give me fucking Tyler Higbee. Give me Tyler Higbee anytime touchdown. Like, he's going to be the forgotten receiver out of the group. He's decent red zone threat. He's in there to run block, although I don't know how much that's going to fool anybody in this game, them trying to run block when it's obvious they're not really running the ball. But I always like Higbee. I know our friend Brandon Oliva says never bet on a white. I'm going to bet on a white, and the white's going to be Higbee. So I like the Rams here. Maybe you and I have to come up with like the picks that we have different and do like a best of for like a shoey for the week. Like if we're on so many different sides, we'll just see like who gets more right and do a shoey on it.
Yeah, we have to note it down. I'll note everything down after the stream.
I know right now.
So
There's at least one more
Rams
game I know we're going to be
Cowboys.
different on here. This game and the Jacksonville game I know we're different.
Yeah. So that's 2.
And
2
the
and
Eagles.
4.
And the Eagles.
Oh yeah, and the Eagles.
I'm taking all the dogs, man.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's do this shit.
Let's move on. Okay. Oh boys.
We have the Patriots going up against the Dolphins. The Dolphins are 9.5-point favorites, opened at 12.5, with speculation that Tyreek Hill is probably going to be out, and that's still the case. Total set at 47. Miami's favored by 5.5 points at halftime, with the over/under set at 23.5.
Yeah, I wrote down no fucking idea because Waddle seems to have played through it, had a little bit of a back injury. Maybe they give him what they gave Mahomes at the Super Bowl and he's fine. I don't know. Hill might be out. Does it matter? I don't know. This line took a major plunge, and it's not just the injuries. It's that New England, everybody's going to be like, New England's another publicly bet team. Oh, did they figure it out last week? Like, no, Buffalo just had a really bad game. That was a weird game last week. It feels like a buy low spot on Miami, but I think I'm just going to stay away from this one completely. There's too many question marks. I will say that Miami's been really good at covering these big numbers. They covered against Carolina. They covered against the Giants. Like, they covered against Denver. They've been really good at covering these big numbers. But Tyreek Hill played in all those games. Like, how many points is he worth to you in the spread? Is he worth 4 or 5 points? I think he is.
Yeah.
Because who else is the weapon now? Is it that asshole Craycraft? Is River Craycraft now the weapon?
You gotta think Cedric Wilson.
Well, he had a great game. He had a great game last week.
Yeah.
But he's not like an explosive. He's a good receiver, but he's not an explosive threat. Now Waddle probably has to be the explosive threat. And if Waddle's, 75% or whatever he is, I mean, back injury is probably going to limit him all week. If you're taking the explosiveness away from the passing game, now all of a sudden Mostert's not great. And this is the kind of game that Belichick can like scheme for. I still don't think Mac Jones is good. I know he had a good game. I'd probably lean the Patriots to cover, but like I'm never betting the Patriots. We did just too much on the Miami side right now that like I can't account for. So this is a wait and see. If we get news like as the week goes on, like on Sunday, like and I decide to bet it, like I'll tweet it. But right now, I don't know how you can bet it. You agree?
No, I completely agree.
You just like Miami no matter what.
No. I completely agree. I was thinking to myself, maybe this is a game where we can get Miami's first half team total over 13.5 instead of 3 scores. But even then, like, do I really trust them to move the ball without Tyreek? And yeah, we have Waddle, but if you're double covering Waddle, and we saw what they did to Diggs last week. Sure, he got his own towards the second half, but it's because he had that secondary person opening up the way for him with Kincaid. I don't think there's anyone on the Dolphins team that can open up the field like Tyreek Hill can. No one's going to fill that spot. So for me, I'm just going to have to stay away from it completely. I do lean the Patriots spread, but am I taking it? Never. He
might be worth 7 points to the spread. I can't believe I'm going to say that, but he might be worth 7 points.
No,
he might be worth a full touchdown.
That's fair because when you look at it, how are they getting downfield so quick? It's either a long pass to Waddle or a long pass to Tyreek. And when you take one of them out, it's going to be a lot easier to cover the second guy because they can focus a little bit more and have double coverage a little bit more often than not. So yeah, it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie. I feel like I'm slowly talking myself into a Patriots spread bet, but no fucking way. Like if they give me 10.5, then my hands are gonna they're probably gonna have to fire.
I want to mention one thing before we move on. So I have the box score up from last game because I wanted to reference this when we were talking about it. And Hill only had 40 yards last time. I mean, this is what Belichick's going to do. He's going to try to take away your best player. But Waddle had a great game. Even that asshole Craycraft had 34 yards. They spread it around a lot in that game. Mostert ran well. The problem is now without Hill, if Belichick has to take away Waddle, all of a sudden you look at the other guys in that team and it's like, who steps up out of this group? Like you mentioned Cedric Wilson, like that's fine. Does Berrios step up? Like you just don't know. Like
I mean, Berrios did well. He was on the Patriots last season, right? I think he did pretty well with them on these longer go routes.
Yeah,
we'll see.
All right, let's move on. Oh, Boise. Oh boy, Jets, Giants. If there's a team I hate as much as the Eagles, it's the New York Jets. Just for the record, as I set you up for this one, it's at the Giants.
Can we skip this one?
But it's a home game. The Jets are minus. No. I have a lean here. Jets are 3. The total's 36.5. So you have clearly no play here you like.
Zero. Absolutely none. Like yeah. Throw up.
I like the under 36.5 here. I will probably look toward like a first half under just so I don't have to care about the whole game. But it looks like it's going to be Tyrod Taylor. I don't know if Andrew Thomas is in. If he's not in, their chances of moving the ball go from 15% to like 0. I know the Jets have some injuries in the secondary. I think Sauce is in the concussion protocol still. So, like, there's things to monitor there. But I don't think it matters. I don't think it really matters. Like, the Giants aren't going to really able to move the ball. And then on the flip side, it's Zach Wilson. So, like, if the Jets go heavy Breece Hall, you just take a time off the clock. I think the Jets probably pull away with this game. But do you want to bet Wilson as forget about a road favorite. Do you want to bet Wilson as a favorite ever? Like, I don't. And I can't bet this Giants team right now. So I like the under, and I actually like it a lot. This under 17.5. You're getting even money for it. I really don't fucking hate it. Like, I really don't hate it at all because, like, the Giants all year have scored nothing in the first halves of games. They haven't done shit. You're telling me the Jets are going to get 18 points in the first half? The Jets aren't going to score 18 points this game. So I love the first half under. You got to clench your butthole. It's fine. All you're rooting for is this game does not come on red zone. Like, that's what you're rooting for. Don't show this game. Like, that's it. Unless Scott Hansen's like, we have to show you this 78-yard punt from the Giants. Like, amazing. I'd be like,
I would love that.
Awesome. Like, flip the field. Even with them, with them, you know, you're going run heavy. Like, the Giants are going to go run heavy, like, especially as the game, starts. Well, yeah, they'll get Saquon Barkley's going to get murdered. So I see Fight Talk likes the Jets defensive touchdown here. I mean, I'm going to pivot. You ready for this one? How about no touchdown scorer? How about no one scores a touchdown in this game? Dude, you know what you get for these bets? Dude, some of these games you get like 30-1. How about you bet nobody scores a touchdown in this game? And it ends 9-6.
I am willing to go down that dark path with you.
Would you, if I told you this game ended 9-6, would it shock you?
No, it wouldn't.
I mean,
realistically, like, I think that's probable.
I think if you're going to play a touchdown prop, here's the problem. You're not going to get any value. You probably have to play Breece Hall. Like, I think that's probably the only play, right? Like, you can't play.
Here's a prop. The over on total field goals. It's probably going to be set to either 3.5 or 4.5. You got to imagine. Field goals? Yeah, I mean, it might be 4.5.
It might be 12.5. Because, like, that's
I'm talking about, like,
in this game.
Field goals made, not the points coming from. I think, yeah. That might be something.
Yeah, 60. It'll be 69. That's the
I
score.
would actually prefer just taking the Giants field goals over instead of the Jets because I feel like the Jets can move the ball a little bit more than the Giants here. We'll see. We'll see what kind of
I
props
think
they give
no
us.
touchdown score is the play. There you go for fight talk. No touchdown score. All right.
Let's
We're
do it.
moving on.
Jeff George sighting number
George,
trace.
Jeff George, number 3. Go ahead. This is my game.
We
Terrific.
got the Falcons going up to Tennessee facing the Titans. They're 2.5-point favorites. God, on the road. Total set to 36.5. ATL favored by 1.5 points at halftime with the total set at 18.5. Lou, I hope you. You know what? I'm gonna let you say what you gotta say.
I'm going to play. This is another one where I'm going to play the first half under 18.5. I'm not sure how anybody scores in this game. And I don't know what to do because we don't know who's playing quarterback for Tennessee. Like, there's no good option. Warren Moon would be a better option than Will Levis. Do you know who Warren Moon is? I have to ask because he's old.
Nope.
Warren Moon, when they were the Houston Oilers, Warren Moon has like all these fucking yardage records because he played in the CFL and they came to the NFL when he was like 32. He was throwing for like 5,000 yards a season. Like the dude was, and he played until he was like 46. Like, dude, Warren Moon was awesome. Like tremendous. He would be a better option right now than anybody they have. Will Levis is the goddamn worst. No, we're using Jeff George. It's Jeff George shit. All right, leave me alone, man. When you make the graphics, you can do whatever you want for your own graphics, Palaroo. So what's Tennessee going to do? They're going to run the ball with Derrick Henry. Well, Atlanta can stop the run. What the fuck's Atlanta going to do? I know Tennessee's like wholesaling their team right now. Vrabel at home as a dog has historically been good. Atlanta's horribly coached, and this fucking Bijan thing from last week is pissing everybody off. Tennessee can stop the run. Say it. We've said it all year. How do you beat Tennessee? It's pass funnel. You bomb it. Ritter can't beat them in the air. So I don't know how anybody scores in this game either. So I'm going to play the under first half. I'm not being mean to Chantel, being mean to you. I'm going to play the under first half. This is another one I like the under first half, and then I don't have to care about the rest of the game. As far as the touchdown prop, I mean, you got to go Henry. I think you have to. There's nobody else in this game I trust. There's nobody on Atlanta's offense I trust. Maybe Drake London, like on a bomb, but like, I don't fucking know, dude. Who did Atlanta just sign? Didn't they just get a receiver like a week ago?
Fucking, what's his name?
Jonnu Smith revenge game.
Let me look this up.
Yeah, they just got somebody. See, we weren't prepared for this. So we're thinking on the fly here.
Demir Bird.
No. Van Jefferson. That's who I was thinking of. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Van Jefferson, 1 catch, 43 yards, and a touchdown. Sure. If Atlanta's not running the ball effectively, they got to throw to somebody. So I'll go Van Jefferson. But I like the under here too. This sucks, dude. But all the Jonnu Smith. Go ahead. That's all I got on this fucking shit fest. So you obviously have a strong view on this.
No.
Oh, you said say what you got to say. I'm like, all right, he's got a strong pick.
I mean, I would lean towards the Titans, but just Falcons favorite on the road. Like if they give me 3 or 3.5, I'll take the Titans. But
is there a world where Will Levis just comes out and dominates, and like we all are like, fuck? We're like, Jesus Christ! Like all we did was bash this asshole, and like, you're muted.
My bad. I'm telling my nephew to get out. He was just done with his homework.
Dude, I've been bashing Will Levis for 3 years. I've been bashing Will Levis since he was on Penn State. This guy sucks. I never understood. They're like consensus number 1. Like, get the fuck out of here. He's going to be the number 1 pick. What if he comes out and he's just like, balls, dude? What if Levis? Hold on. Fight Talk wants a touchdown pick. You want a fucking touchdown pick? Racy McMath from Levis. Levis to Racy McMath.
It was coming at one point or another.
Dude, if Racy McMath, he won't have props listed, by the way. He's listed. His prop is listed as any other player. That's what Racing McMath is listed as.
Get rid of him.
I mean, if Levis plays, I'm almost thinking like, dude, he's just gonna go off for like 300 yards and like.
Well, yeah, watch Levis go off for 300 yards.
He's gonna give us the biggest middle finger ever. If it's Malik Willis, I have no concern. They're running the triple option if it's Malik Willis.
Yeah, but I would still take the Titans with either of them.
All right.
Oh, we have the Vikings going up against the Packers.
He played for a lot of teams, dude. He played for a lot of teams.
Number 4.
I'm setting you up. Vikings and Packers. Vikings coming off pretty wild win on Monday night. This line shifted. Green Bay is, I'm just going to say it, bunch of assholes from last week. They're on my no bet list going forward. I think they're on your no bet list. Them and Leeds are the only 2 teams I refuse to bet on going forward. The line is flipped Minnesota, 1.5 point favorite. Day game at Lambeau. What do you got, Wiz?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Vikings money line here. It's not an overreaction to how they played on Monday, but I would have taken this line without Monday, even if they got smashed by the Niners. I think they can pass all over the Packers. Their coverage game has not been good, and running the ball, I think you think both teams are pretty much equal level playing field here. I know Aaron Jones is back, but Aaron Jones really didn't do anything last game out, coming off of an injury. I do think they can do well with Madison here and just get the necessary 4 yards on first down, or Akers, whoever it is they decide to go to, or feed more. But I think the Vikings are the better team in this spot. And if you're giving me a 1.5 here, the money line is going to be at like -127, which that we can actually find. And yeah, I mean, right now it's actually pick 'em.
112. -112 on, yeah. There you go.
Yeah, -109 on Bet Online. I'm gonna be taking that for 2 units. I think it's a good spot for the Vikings here.
I wish you the best on your bet. I am not going to bet this game.
I don't blame you.
I can't. This is another one where like I feel it's a trap. I feel like the public. By the way, bet it now, because I feel like the public's going to just continue to bet Minnesota here, and I don't blame them. I feel like this is that fucking game where I want to bet Minnesota. Everything tells me to bet Minnesota. And then this is the game where Green Bay like just decides, okay, we don't suck this week. I just don't want any part of it. I'm rooting for the Vikings. Like, and not because Clint and Narco like them. Like, I don't like when they're happy. But I'm rooting for them because I'm so mad at the Packers for costing me money this year. I'm just furious at them for last week. Like, it's that simple. So as far as a touchdown goes,
gotta go Addison.
No. Who did I like last week? Brandon Powell is going to be over. He's going to be mispriced until he actually like scores, but he's running a lot of routes and he's on the field a lot. So like, again, I'm trying to give one that's like an off the grid one if I can. Like, I'm trying not to give like the chalk ones. So like, yeah, like Addison, like, I mean, Osborne still like if he's like plus 180, how do you not like that? Like Osborne, because dude, Cousins likes Osborne a lot still too. I mean, like
in the red zone,
he never throws to Hawkinson in the red zone, or I would have said Hawk, but he just doesn't. Hawkinson had a monster game too.
Yeah,
I had his over and like in the same game. I'm like, Jesus Christ, like
first half easily.
I'm like, what are they doing? All right, we're done with this one, right?
Yep.
All right. Oh my God, it's another Jeff George.
Numero 5.
Did you know he played for Seattle? Because I'm going to be honest, I did not either. I'm like, he played for Seattle. This might be a preseason picture for all I fucking know, because I don't remember him playing for Seattle. But
oh man,
I really went ham on this Jeff George shit. Cleveland at Seattle. Seattle's a 3-point favorite. Cleveland's coming off. I mean, I think it was an unjust victory. I'll just say it, over Indy, but a crazy game. And Myles Garrett had like more highlights in that game than a lot of dudes have in their career. Like, it was insane what he did. Seattle, they got the job done. I have some thoughts about this when it's my turn, but Seattle currently a minus 3-point favorite. The line has moved toward them, so kind of surprised it's open at 1.5. If I'm being honest, I figured it should have opened at 3 anyway.
Yeah, this one was a tough game for me to read. At first glance, I was looking towards the Browns if I could get like a 3.5 number. But then I dig deep a little bit more. What was one thing that the Niners struggled to do? It was pass the ball, and we're starting to see Brock Purdy just come down to earth a little bit. I do think Geno can manage this offense and pass downfield, and DK is indicating that he's playing this week, so that's a big boost for Seattle here.
Don't be so sure yet, though. He's indicating it, but don't be. Make sure you check.
Today, on Underdog Fantasy, they're like indicates that he'll be a week 8
Okay.
active week 8. That's as far as I saw. But if he plays, I think that's going to be a big boost for the Seahawks offense here, just opening up the field for Lockett more than anything. So I do like that the Seahawks can pass a little bit better than the Niners. And then you look on the other side of the ball, Deshaun Watson's still making the same mistakes, still not looking like himself. I don't think he ever will, to be honest with you. 2 years off is going to do that to you. I just have a hard time picking a side here. Like, if a gun to my head, I would be choosing the Seahawks, but I'm not betting it. What I will be betting is probably going to be DK receptions. He's probably going to get a lot of these shorter routes coming off of an injury, and it's not going to be as much downfield. That's why I'm shying away from the receiving yards prop. So give me DK receptions. And man, you got to look at Bobo. You got to look at Jake Bobo, the fucking legend. He's starting to find some chemistry with Geno Smith and going downfield specifically. So I'll be looking at taking his receiving yards over. But that's the only 2 props I like on this game. Other than that, pretty hard one to read for me. What do you have here?
So just one thing on the Jake Bobo stuff is that it's not just that like he's starting to get camaraderie with Geno. It's not like he's getting past his 5 yards from the line of scrimmage. Like he's finding him 15, 20 yards downfield. So if you play his yardage prop, it might only take 1 catch. Plus, like his name is Jake Bobo, dude. How do you not like?
Has to be one of the best names in the NFL right now.
Well, in all fairness, he's not even the best Jake that ever played in the NFL recently. That would be Jake Butt, former Michigan tight end, Jake Butt. You have to change your name. That's your fucking name, dude. Jake Butt. Like you got.
No, you'll be remembered forever.
So,
like now,
this feels like a theme of the week, but I am once again going to play the under in this game, 39.5. I want to talk about what I've learned from Seattle to this point. Their offense is sputtering badly. I think that like the Detroit game was just going to be one of those games that happened. Carolina's defense is terrible. These last couple of weeks, man, the Giants game 24-3, but really all of it was early. And I think it was a pick six. Was there a pick six in there? Did Devin have the pick six?
Yeah.
Okay. So their offense didn't really do much against the Giants. And like you can argue they took their foot off the gas a little bit, but like their offense didn't really do much in the second half of that game. The Bengals game, their offense didn't do shit. And last week, their offense didn't do shit till really the end of the game. Walker was fine, but really their offense kind of sputtered. Like I'm the more I read Justin's messages, I used to think Justin was this crazy human being. I'm starting to think maybe he just needs to have sex. And a lot of this goes away. Because it's a lot of talk about like touching me and like doing moves to me. And like, so Justin, I have advice for you. Call Dwight Howard. Apparently he's into this kind of thing. And maybe he brings his friend Kitty. And y'all have a great time.
Okay, Kitty.
By the way, what the fuck, dude? With that story.
Out of left field. I mean, he already had the one a couple seasons ago where he was.
By the way, Justin hasn't figured this out. I let it go till it's like his 30th comment. I no sell all his comments until it just gets to the point where I'm like, all right, dude, like, you know, you had it coming. We love you, Justin. Just in a friend's.
It's not the Raiders.
In a you're over there way. So The one thing I've learned about Seattle, two things I've learned is this. I think their defense is a lot better than I thought up front. Their secondary is good, but their front four is playing pretty well. And their offensive line is really fucking bad. And I just don't know how anybody scores in this game either. Like, do you really trust? That's what somebody doesn't.
We need proof.
That's what somebody who doesn't have sex would say, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how Cleveland really moves the ball well. I know they scored like 38 points last week, but the Colts weren't really getting any pressure. I don't know. And like a lot of it was defensive. I just think this becomes like a really ugly, grinded out game. It's going to be cold. I think Cleveland's going to have problems scoring. I think Seattle's going to have a lot of problems because I think Cleveland's going to be getting through every single play. Garrett sacks, whatever, load it up. I once again love the under. I'm playing a lot of unders this week. I would play full-time under here, though. I wouldn't do the first half. I would play the full game. But
that's fair.
These games are shit, dude. I don't mean this week. I mean, like the last couple of weeks, man, these totals have been like, I long for the days when we had totals of 41. Now we're getting 36. Dude, we're going to get like 28.5 one day.
Iowa.
That's what it feels like. We're getting there. All right. This is a non-Jeff George game. Go ahead. This is a non-Jeff George game.
We have the Chiefs at the Broncos. Well, Chiefs are 7.5-point favorites. We all know what happened last time. Total is 46.5. First half set to 3.5, with the total set at 23.5.
It's weird that money came in on Denver. Like, why? Why has money come in on Denver?
I bet you it's the sole reason that last game out they played them close. I bet you that's the sole reason.
Yeah, but Kansas City won like pretty convincingly over the Chargers. Like, like I don't get it. So like, what am I missing here? Denver's just getting rid of all of their defenders, and now you got motherfuckers suspended for. Well, it's going to end up being 2 weeks probably for the punch.
2 games, yeah.
Okay, so Denver's defense is getting worse and worse. If you want to look at the last game in Kansas City, and like, look, it was a couple weeks ago, so it's fair to look at it. I know it was 19-8, I got it. But the Chiefs were moving the ball all game. Mahomes made some like very weird red zone errors. Denver couldn't do shit. Kansas City's defense has been playing well all year. I almost want to say I like the under again, but Denver's defense is so bad that maybe this is a game Kansas City just fucking throws up 50. It's very possible to me. I think I see Jared's mentioning like Rashee Rice, and I get it. I feel like this whole Kansas City spreading the ball around to all their receivers, 3-4 receptions, it's gonna start to pay off now that they got Hardman in. Because now you have like, you could just continuously rotate receivers where you have enough guys that could be like Hardman's a deep threat. I don't know if Rashee Rice is, I don't know if I consider him a pure deep threat. Kadarius Toney doesn't have to play anymore. Like,
he can retire.
Like Scantling, when he's healthy, I would consider a deep threat. At least that's the way Green Bay used to use him. I would still consider him a deep threat. But all of a sudden, you got all these guys that can do all these different routes, and maybe Kansas City's offense is like crazy diverse now. I'm just going to monitor this line because I kind of think it's 6.5. I don't know how I don't take Kansas City. I almost want to take them now at 7.5. I would have taken them at 8.5. I know it's a divisional game. It's a big number. But like Denver is doing everything in their power just to get rid of their team and tank. Like they win a game, they get rid of players. Like it's like the movie Major League, dude. It's like, nope, just get rid of guys. Like we can't have that. So I don't know. Like it's not really like it's a square pick here, but like I don't get it. Dude. I don't get why the money. I know what you're saying, Wiz, but like, and I mean, look, 1-5-1 ATS and the record's 2-5. When your ATS record and your actual record are like that similar, it's telling. Like those are the telling things to me. It means you lose when you're supposed to lose and you lose badly. And KC's winning when it's supposed to win, and it wins convincingly enough. So I don't know, man. I don't know. I almost think the over is the play just so I can have an over on this card. But I won't do it.
50, then yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to bet the over, you may as well just bet Kansas City's team total.
Exactly. Yeah,
So I'm leaning Kansas City as my pick, and then touchdown prop. I don't fucking know.
Yeah, KC is a teaser piece for me in this spot. I think they're a lot better than the first matchup, especially with McCole Hardman in and Kareem Jackson, who, let's not forget, Kareem Jackson is their leading tackle player on the defense for the Broncos, and he's out for 2 games now. He's gonna open up a big hole there, and with McCole Hardman and somebody who has that experience with Mahomes, has the chemistry already built from the past couple of seasons, they're a lot better with him on the field. The biggest concern for the Chiefs was that the lack of wide receiver depth and just the lack of chemistry between Mahomes and these receivers. And now that you have another guy in that has experience with him, I think it's just going to serve him well. So yeah, good teaser piece for me with Kansas City. I'll take their first half team total, whatever it is. If it's 3 scores, I'm still going to take it because they're scoring really fast. They're not taking too much time off the clock, and I don't think Denver is going to stay on the field that long. And their defense for the Chiefs has stepped up big time over the past couple of weeks, getting some key stops. And right now they're ranked as a top 5 defense in the league, which over the past couple of seasons, we're not used to seeing that. We're used to seeing middle of the pack for the Chiefs. So I think all of that spells well for them here. And I think they do get their team total over just individually instead of taking the actual game over. So yeah, that's all I got for this one, but it's pretty straightforward with the Chiefs for me.
All right. By the way, no bye weeks this week.
I like that.
It's weird that they're doing this whole bye week break and then more bye weeks. Like, it's really right. Like, it's kind of weird how they did this whole thing this year. But
yeah, it is. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but I guess more games for us.
I wonder if it's because a lot of these, like, I wonder because they're doing like the Germany game and like they're trying to schedule like these teams if they have to like that kind of travel. Like, I don't know, dude. I don't fucking know if they do anything. Also, why are we having games in Germany? You think like a Bayern Munich fan's like, I'm really excited for a fucking. You think like any Bundesliga fan gives a shit?
They have a big following in Germany. The NFL has a huge following in Germany.
Stop. This is all part of their war effort. I don't know if you know your history, Wiz, but I'm gonna give you a little history lesson.
I do not. If you didn't know that.
So there was this guy. So Germany for World War I decided it wanted to go to war. And do you know who they chose as their enemy? The world. That's who they chose as their enemy, Wiz. And they lost. And then a few years later, that the scraggly craggly guy showed up. And once again, Germany decided to go to war. And once again, Wiz, you know who they chose for their enemy? The world. And this time, it was close. So they're just biding their time for this because they're not going to screw up a third time. So them investing in the NFL is all part of the plan.
Against the world.
The world.
Let me tee you up for this one. We have the Bengals at the 49ers. The 49ers are 5.5-point favorites. Total set at 45.5 with the first half line set at 3.5. Total at 22.5. Sam Darnold is rumored to be the starter for the 49ers this game. Brock Purdy injured. Concussion protocol.
Well, I bet this game this morning at 5.5. It is now 3.5. So I would have bet it anyway. But I had to take the 5.5 once I heard about Purdy. I did it before my book moves on Bet Parks, but now it's 3.5. And I'm going to just look right now. I imagine, I don't even know if 3.5 is going to be there. That's still 3.5, but it's minus 115. Let's break this down. Let's break this down if Purdy wasn't hurt. The Niners right now are finally, I don't want to say coming back down to earth, but Purdy had not lost in regular season. Now he's lost 2 in a row. The Cleveland game, I think you and I had both said this feels like a weird game. Niners are too big a favorite. And Purdy got him in a position to win the game on the field goal. Like, I didn't think Purdy played awful in that game. I think it was just a weird game. Purdy played very badly on Monday. Very badly against a very poor Minnesota secondary. He's throwing picks left and right. Didn't look right. I know he didn't have Debo. It doesn't matter. The Niners have plenty of weapons that are underutilized in that team. Like, Jennings is fine. Even McLeod's all right. Like, dude, they have, like, their personnel's good. So I don't, look, obviously not having Debo hurts, but they had enough talent to win that game. Dude, Ayuk has 50. I mean, I think the whole world was on like Ayuk props. Dude has 57 yards in the first half, and then they didn't throw to him the rest of the game. It's on the field. I don't know. So anyway, I don't know what's going on with this Niners team. Maybe this is just like growing pains. Maybe Purdy's coming back down to earth. I don't know. Here's what I do know. Sam Darnold is the fucking worst. He's terrible. He was terrible in college. He was, they drafted him. The Jets drafted him. My buddies are all excited. I'm like, dude, he's a project. He's been playing quarterback for like a year and a half in his life. Like, he's just a good athlete. And now he stinks. Now, look, he's been sitting behind Purdy. Is Brock Purdy a mentor to Sam Darnold? Like, I don't understand it. Darnold needed to go to a spot like sit behind, like, not a Mahomes, but like an established guy and be like, dude, hold the clipboard. Learn.
Like a Josh Allen.
Yes. Not Purdy, who's still learning. No knock on Purdy, but dude's young and still learning. Like, he's been in the league less time than Darnold. So has Darnold improved? No. The personnel around him has. But you got Burrow coming off a bye. He didn't look great against Seattle, but I think that's more of a product of Seattle just making games ugly. I think he knows how to win these games. T motherfucking Higgins seems healthy. They're going to have their weapons. I don't know why the Bengals can't win this game outright, but I was happy with the 5.5. I still think the 3.5, you're probably all right. I think the ATS records are a little misleading here because Cincinnati just started so badly. And it looks like you can't think that Cincinnati is going to be bad for long, right?
It's going to be tough to think that.
I would worry about their O-line here a little bit, but I don't know, man. I think Burrow can get it out quick. I think even Mixon can have success in the passing game. So I like Cincy to cover here. I don't know that I want to take him outright. The problem is like, even with Darnold, there's a possibility that the Niners win this game 31-3 and just come out and like, fuck, like they just are like, we've had enough. I like, it's possible, but I got the 5.5 and I'm happy with it. It's a tricky game, but it's a tricky game. I just like the 5.5 because of the quarterback stuff. That's it.
Am I wrong, or is this completely out of line for me to say that I think Sam Darnold is better than Brock Purdy?
Yes, you're wrong. Darnold stinks, dude.
Look,
in all fairness, hold on. In all fairness, Darnold has played on really fucking bad teams, like the Jets, Panthers. Like I get it.
Last year,
but I don't think Darnold was good to begin with. So no, I don't think so. Like
last season with the Panthers, sure, they lost a lot. When it came to him making plays in that second half of the season, you remember how much we bet the Panthers?
Yeah.
He was making plays.
I know.
He was accurate, and he was using his legs.
Crazy legs, Darnold.
I have a suspicion that he's better than Purdy. He just has not had the best offensive line. And he's coming into a spot here where he has a top offensive line. So I think he can do damage here. Am I betting the Niners? No. I'm going to say that outright. But I will not be surprised if this offense looks better under Sam Darnold than it does with Brock Purdy. And I told my brother this in the beginning of the season. So this is going to be the first show me spot for Sam Darnold. And I feel like he's going to look really good. At home, favorable spot for him against a team that has a horrible offensive line, so the defense can do its job. I think Sam Darnold can have a coming out party here in San Francisco. So for me, I have to lean with the 49ers. Props, I'm going to stay away from every single 49ers player. I mean, Jamar Chase receptions is something that's going to happen, and he's going to get his receptions. So that might be on the board for me, but I really think that Sam Darnold can prove a lot of people wrong here about him. So we'll see. It's going to be a fun one. I'm going to be watching this game, and I rarely watch games that I don't bet on. But I'm watching this one because I want to tell my brother, there you fucking go. I told you, bitch. And Sam Darnold will get another shot. And if he performs well again and Purdy, remains to be Hurdy, then give me Sam Darnold as a starter.
We are now on the opposite of 4 games, by the way.
Yep.
I would like to stress for our listening audience that all 4 games were different on, you have the favorite.
Yep.
Just letting you know.
Yep.
I would like to rebut this claim quickly, if I may. As somebody who watches a lot of college football, I feel like I have to use this in the evaluation process. I watched Darnold at USC, where he had literally all the fucking weapons in the world. That's like just all they do over there. And he was fine. He was inaccurate, but it didn't matter. Just bomb it, and like somebody's going to get the ball. Like Purdy played for Iowa State, and they're playing against like teams don't have great defenses, but like he had no receivers. Like, so I thought he was better in college than Darnold was. And now the roles have flipped where Purdy has the better support system and Darnold didn't. The problem is, for me, the reason I'll never say Darnold's better is that Darnold still never developed, and then he didn't get the development he needed. So, like, to me, here, let me put it this way. Here's an interesting way I'll compare it. Have you ever dated anybody that had a child when they were young?
Yep.
Okay. Like, how old was the lady when she had a child?
She was 21.
Okay, I'm thinking a little. Okay, anyway, I dated a girl that had a kid when she was 18. Now, this is like 12 years after she had the kid. Here's the problem. Once I came into the picture and it's like, oh, I'll go out. Like, no, it's fine. Go out. Now, all of a sudden, they have freedom. And that freedom leads them to picking up where they were before they had the child at age 18. So the maturity level. So they haven't matured, is my point. They haven't matured socially. This is how I feel about Sam Darnold's quarterback skills. He hasn't matured yet.
Very, very good, reference there.
I had to make sure the headphones were on over there before I said any of the things I said. The headphones were not in, were they? You heard it. I guess she heard enough.
I didn't hear anything.
Good. She said she didn't hear anything. That's good enough for me. Let's move on. That's good enough for me.
I can go back and watch.
That's all right. I'll tell you what I said. I don't give a shit. Baltimore at Arizona. Baltimore more than a touchdown favorite. 8.5 is the spread. Total is 44. Baltimore coming off an absolute jihad over the Detroit Lions, as predicted by yours truly. Arizona, decent showing, but as their legendary coach Art Sell once said, they are who we thought they were. Arizona is starting to come back down to earth. 1-6. The season's done. Josh Dobbs is even starting to he's playing all right, but he's making a lot of mistakes. What do you got for this one?
Yeah, I think the Ravens cover here, even away. They're coming off of a good win against the Lions, and the Cardinals have shown their woes last week. They kept it close up to a certain point, and then just fourth quarter they completely flailed. They're a team that if you can cover the run, they can't really do much to you. And the Ravens are really good against the run. So I think they're going to stop them 3 and out pretty often in this game, and I think the Ravens are going to have a lot of possession. So for me, I'm looking at the Ravens first half team total if it's at 13.5. I'm looking to put Ravens in a teaser piece. And then for me, I think the one guy you got to go back to is Lamar Jackson with his feet. I think he can run all over the Cardinals here on some quarterback blitz that the Cardinals run. He'll just run into open space here and find the yardage. I think he was at like 44.5 last week. I'll be fine with that number if they give it to me this week. So that's what I think about this game. I'm not too passionate about it, I would say, but I think it's a pretty straightforward game.
Yeah, I'm going to play first half 4.5. I'm going to put them in a teaser as well. I'm just high on Baltimore this year, and I've been really good at picking their games. I even picked them to lose to Pittsburgh or not cover. I mean, them losing was weird, but I did have Pittsburgh covering there. I've been pretty good with Baltimore all year. Just some teams I read really well. Some teams like the Redskins, I do not. But I've been pretty good with Baltimore all year. I think Arizona right now is pretty bad. I mean, they're saying this will be 14.5 in Baltimore. That sounds about right. If anything, that might even sound a little bit low. I think Baltimore would absolutely smash this team in Baltimore in a cold, windy day. Probably beat them by 3 scores. So I do like Baltimore here a lot. But I'll take the first half minus 4.5. And that's an anytime touchdown. I don't give a shit. Andrews, why not?
Mandrews.
Dude, there is noise on every fucking side of me right now. Like every side of me right now But I love you guys, the fans, enough where I'm just fighting through it for these last couple of games.
You know what? We can't hear it, so that's the most important thing.
No, what's most important is I can hear it, and it's driving me insane.
What's most
But
important is Jeff George, number
Jeff
6.
George, this is number
Numero
6.
6.
All right, set me up
We
for
got-
this, and then you finish it off.
Oh yeah, we got the Bears at the Chargers. The Chargers are 8.5-point favorites. Let me say that louder. The Chargers are 8.5-point favorites. Total set to 46.5. The first half lines is LA minus 4.5. Total set at 23.5. Lou, does Jeff George go down again?
No, I'll keep this one short and sweet. I don't care if it's Tyler Badgett. The Chargers in no world should ever be more than a touchdown over anybody. They don't know how to win games like this. Staley is terrible. Even if the Bears just run the ball every play, I favor them to keep this close. I think they can win this game outright, to be honest. But I am happy to take more than a touchdown in a game that, and I think this total is kind of crazy. Like, I mean, if the Bears are going to win or keep it close, it has to be like a 17-14 game. Like, it has to be. So give me the Bears all day here.
I agree with the side. I'd probably take the Bears 8.5 here. And then I think the one bet that I really like at this game is probably going to be the Justin Herbert over 1.5 touchdowns. It's probably going to be juiced at minus 150 or 160, but I think that's money all day here in this spot. The Bears can't cover anything. I was about to say the run, the pass. They can't cover anything. So Justin Herbert over 1.5 touchdown passes is going to be a big bet for me. But yeah, the Bears plus 8.5 is going to be a good look. I'll probably hedge with that too.
You know, if you same game parlay those two things, you probably get like insanely good odds.
Yep.
Since it's uncorrelated. Like you might get like crazy good odds on that. So
yeah,
that's something to consider if you guys want like, I mean, like you'll probably get plus 500 on that. Or close to it.
Interesting. Yeah, I'm going to be looking towards that because I did have the Bears circled here. I mean, Badgett was throwing at least.
He's still better than Ritter.
He's definitely better than
he's better than Desmond Ritter. I will say that.
Definitely better than Ritter. And Evan, I don't know if I could trust Eckler anymore this season. This man's not taking any load anymore.
Evan is to the chalkiest guy in the card getting 2 touchdowns as you are to first half team totals. It's like the go-to bet.
Oh yeah, brother. Chargers first half team total is another look. We'll see.
All right, Raiders at Detroit.
Oh, the Raiders.
Detroit minus 8.5, coming off an absolute pasting. The Raiders coming off an absolute pasting of their own against the aforementioned Tyler Badgett. This is the 7th and final Jeff George the day. The total has gone up to pick 45.5. What do you got? What are your thoughts on this one?
I think the Lions teabag the Raiders here. Teabag them in Call of Duty reference. I mean, is it really like necessary to explain how? It's gonna be anywhere they want. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is gonna have a good game here, especially with Montgomery still out. And then you look at the receiving side of the ball. I'm gonna be looking towards Laporta a lot in this spot. The Raiders struggle against these bigger tight ends, so I'll be looking as receiving props. Raiders teaser piece, Lions teaser piece, Lions first half team total. Anything on the Lions side in terms of offensive props should be fine here. The Raiders have given us as many reasons to fade them as possible. So at this point, it's just take the money. Yeah, 31-1, Justin. Exactly. 31 for the Lions and 3 for the Raiders. Get that right. I think you mixed them up here. And Evan, we're not going to talk about Gibbs anymore with these touchdowns. This man can't find the end zone. Laporta is my touchdown pick, yes.
Okay, so I'm just going to give one pick on this one, and you'll have to live with it. I'm going to take an alt line on Detroit, and I'm just looking at it. I don't love 13.5 at plus 160. I feel like I need more than that. So I'm looking at this Detroit minus 20.5 plus 360.
Yes.
And like, I got to think a couple of things here. I knew this was a bad spot for Detroit last week. In the wind, against a really good team. The running game was injured. Like I just knew Baltimore. Like I knew it in every part of my being. I should have bet 20 units on that game. That's how confident I feel here, where the Raiders are just a disaster. They're going into a dome team, an angry team with a good coach in Dan Campbell. They have been stewing all week. I don't think Detroit will let up. Like, this game could be 28-0 at the half, Detroit, and they will be throwing the ball in the third quarter. Like, and if you want to compare this, look what happened with the Green Bay game. They were throwing the ball in the fourth quarter of that game. Like, they were still trying to score. They were sending a fucking message, and I think Detroit will send a message here. So I'm going to go alt line Detroit. Like, any way you play Detroit is fine.
Yeah.
But 20.5 plus 360, I'll take the shot. Fuck it.
The Raiders
and
are
maybe
that
money will,
bad.
dude, maybe money will come in on the Raiders because they're another publicly bet team. Like, my book has this game at -8. Like, just like shop around. But like, if this game, like, if somehow the Raiders get money, maybe Wiz, let's start a rumor that Goff doesn't have like a foot, and see if we can move the number. Let's get. I mean, I know he
Let's
is
start the
retired.
rumor that Jeff George is returning.
I know that he retired again, but maybe we can get like Man of the Library and his Discord to like just start spreading some false shit and like move this number and get it to like Raiders -3, and then I'll bet Detroit -20.5, like plus 600. But I think this is like the demolition of demolitions. Like, I really do.
This is the demolition derby of the week.
If I could like ladder the team total, like if I could do like an alt team total, I would. But books don't really have that. Like, maybe there's like a book that does, but like if you have one, great. But I just think Detroit, like, I mean, this total's 45.5. They could win 46-0, and it wouldn't surprise me. In fact, that might be an interesting bet. Is like the game over and the Raiders under. Like, might be kind of an interesting, like, cute, fun way to play it. Like, but I'm gonna find some insane like plus 800 bet to do for this game.
There has to be some. Like, if you parlay props, like, you're probably gonna want to parlay Goff over 1.5 touchdowns, Laporta receiving yards, and let's throw
By the way,
in
none of this is
Gibbs receiving.
None of this is slander against Justin for being a Raiders fan. That's like nothing to do with this pick. It's just like for the same exact reason that I bet Baltimore to smash the team last week. This is that spot where like Detroit just says, fuck you, and does not let up.
I feel like we can both agree this is a good one. -8.5 for Detroit, Laporta yards, and then Goff over 1.5 touchdowns. Like, how does that not hit? It already hit. I see the future. 40-1. Don't ask how we got the one.
Do you think this is fair? Fight Talk really wants me to use the Sean Taylor picture. So like, if they don't cover, maybe I'll just use Dan Snyder's picture.
Sure.
And that's the bet. Like, hey man, he's got to put something up. Can't just be us. We're the ones doing all the work.
That works. That works.
Don't use Dan. I knew he was gonna say that. Well, that's the slate, brother.
Bing bang boom.
Yeah, man.
Lou, tell the people what you got going on. Do you have a show tonight?
No, fuck no, dude. It's an off week for us. Can we talk about the new fight? Since we
we
don't
can.
have UFC content, can we talk about this?
Question. Let me pose this question. Have you looked at the odds yet?
Yes, money's coming in on Pavlovich.
Okay,
Looks like
so before the odds came out,
oh, how would I aligned it?
how would you have lined it? Because I have a very like bullish take.
I would have had Aspinall as a favorite. I think he's more well-rounded. But I mean, I wouldn't have had anybody as a big favorite. I think in the one range sounds right. Well, what would you have had it at?
I would have probably had it closer to -180 to 200. Aspinall.
Okay. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
So obviously you like him here in this spot.
Big time. Multiple reasons, and I know a lot of people are gonna be like, okay, but Pavlovich has knocked everyone out in the first round, and how can you be so confident as to saying -180 to 200? You look at let me pull up this guy's.
Yeah. By the way, Evan just priced this out. He just sent me a DM. Raiders under 17.5 and the game over 45.5 is plus 475 odds. I kind of
Jesus
like that. That's a
Christ,
little
that is
cheeky.
good.
That's a
That is
cheeky way to
good.
do it, man. Love
That
it.
is
Oh, we just put it in chat
really
too.
good. Okay, so you look at Pavlovich's last 4 matchups. Curtis Blades, primarily a wrestler, but striking-wise, very slow.
And didn't wrestle.
Tai Tuivasa,
Hold on. Blade shot like one half-ass takedown in that round.
one half-ass takedown from far after he got hurt.
Okay.
Tai Tuivasa doesn't have fast hands, but can knock people out. Derek Lewis does not have fast hands.
Slow as shit.
Slow as a turtle. And then Shamil, let's not talk about Shamil. We don't need to disrespect him like that.
Shamil offers nothing.
Yeah.
Except a great Tapology picture.
Exactly. Then you look at Aspinall, the fastest striker in the heavyweight division. So I think that's going to play a big factor here, just dodging wise and darting in and out. But another thing is he does go to the grappling a lot. And if it hits the mat, you got to think Aspinall's sub is very live. Very live. He could do to Pavlovich what he did to Volkov. I think that's very possible. So I'll have to take Aspinall pretty big there, and then you can hedge out with KO1 or KO2 for Pavlovich. That's really his win path here.
So I agree with all of it. The only thing I want to say, this isn't me playing devil's advocate. This is where I think it's weird. Is there's still so many fucking unknowns about each guy? Because Pavlovich, like, we don't know if he has takedown defense.
Yep.
Like, look, I'm going to assume that like that's not what he works on. And if he gets taken down once, the fight's probably over. Like, how would you line Pavlovich? Because this is going to sound like a strange thing to say, but I'd almost line Pavlovich and Aspinall the same way I'd line Pavlovich Almeida. In that they're both going to try to get this fight to the ground immediately. And if they get it down to the ground once, it's probably over. Like, obviously, Aspinall's better strike. Like, I'm not saying that, like, their striking is the same. I'm saying the game, like, Aspinall, if he stands there for 2 minutes and doesn't attempt a takedown, how much do you hate your bet? Your bet's bad. You're like, what is he doing? Like, then it's the Blades. Because, like, people that bet Blades, I bet Pavlovich KO1 because I'm like, if he's going to win, that's... Because I think it was the only way to get equity on the bet. And then Blades isn't going for takedowns, and I'm like, I am very live to win this bet. And that's the thing. If Aspinall... I actually think Aspinall's probably a better striker than Pavlovich. He's just not as...
That's what I was about to say.
He just doesn't have the power. But we also don't really know how Pavlovich deals with when he gets hurt. What I can say is if this thing hits the ground, Aspinall probably, like, literally sexually abuses him. This might be
without consent.
Yeah. Like, I would line Aspinall as, like, a pretty sizable favorite over Almeida. Like, 400?
Probably like 280.
Okay, but he's a big favorite.
Big favorite.
But I almost think Almeida, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Almeida would have the same game plan as Pavlovich. Maybe the difference is that Pavlovich wouldn't be worried about the threat of the striking.
Exactly. That's the thing. And that's where I disagree, where you're like, I would line Almeida Pavlovich the same way.
Would you line Pavlovich as a favorite against Almeida or even?
I think it would be
close.
Even.
Okay.
It would be even. But also, you got to play into the factor that Almeida is just much smaller.
Well, I don't know, man. He's ballooning like every time we see him, dude. He might be like...
Yeah, but he's weighing in at like 232, 233.
He's starting to weigh in fatter and fatter. Dude, he's turning into Collier. I mean, like, a better Collier.
This one, his last weigh-in was 231.
Are you
That's
taking...
small.
So we both like Aspinall, like, pre us doing videos.
Yeah.
Are you taking... I assume you're taking Pereira big over Prochazka. Just knowing you. Just knowing how I know you, I imagine you're taking Pereira here.
Yeah. Striking defense goes a long way in this spot. And Yuri does not know how to defend strikes.
I would have taken Yuri. I would have taken Yuri all day just because I love him. But how can you be convinced that his shoulder's good? Like, that kind of... So, like... And Pereira now at this weight just looks like...
he's come into himself.
Look, he fought Adesanya enough where he was eventually going to lose to him. And it's a fight he was winning. So, like...
But also the amount of weight that he drains to get to middleweight is insane.
Yeah. And look, I liked how he looked against Blachowicz. Like, look, people were making a case that Blachowicz won that fight.
No,
I watched it twice. That 29-28 is
that's fair.
That was
That's
a
fair.
that was he. I mean, I thought it was pretty. It's not even really that debatable.
Yeah, I think
Blachowicz
it's
won the
very
first.
fair.
Blachowicz won the first. Pereira won the second and third. But Pereira's cardio was okay. But that's not going to be the kind of fight he gets here. He's going to get Yuri throwing all sorts of weird shit. And Yuri's hittable. Like, that's the thing. You're saying straight. Yuri's hittable, dude. Like, I think Pereira can just obliterate him. And it makes me sad.
I think it's one of those jump knees. He can set those up left and right against Pereira. I mean, against Yuri, who dips his head with every freaking shot.
Yeah, if you're watching and you like unders, the Pereira fight's probably going to go under. I don't know how. 1.5 in the heavyweight fight's going to be like fucking minus 280.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be almost unbettable. But that under is probably going to hit. And then the Frivola under is going to be under 1.5 minus 700. And that's going to hit.
Who do you got there?
Santane. And I like Frivola, man. And he's a gamer. But, like, I was on Moises against Santane. Like, idiot. Because I liked the experience and I liked if this fight went deep that I thought Moises could dig in. He didn't give Moises a chance. He was on him so fucking quick. Like, dude, he was hitting him with bombs 10 seconds into that fight. And good for Moises that he hung in, man. But, like, he just got overwhelmed. And I think Frivola's winning streak against him. Like, look, kudos to him for beating Dober. But Dober's always been super hittable. Zaitar stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, who's the other guy? Gennaro Valdez. It's like, stop, dude. Valdez is awful. Like, who did Valdez not get knocked out by? Was it Levy?
Was it Levy? Levy.
Okay, and Levy's not finished anybody. And Levy was like busted him open bad. Like, and then he lost to McKinney, which, like, honestly, if you run that fight back like 10 times, Frivola like fucks him up every time, right? Just like a weird outlier. But, like, Frivola doesn't have, like, this is the best guy he's ever fought. Like, at least recently. Frivola's not knocking him out. And what happens if Frivola blows his load in 3 minutes? I know he's like, oh, I'm working on my wrestling. Yeah, this is fucking different, dude. I want them to run. I would love it if they ran. Honest to God, I know they won't. I would love BFC against Aleksei dos Santos again. Like, I don't want it because Santini doesn't need it. But, like, can you imagine they run that back again? Like, Santini would probably just annihilate him.
And in that fight, did Santini go down a weight class or did Zaleski go up? I can't remember.
He went down. It was short notice.
Yeah.
And it was his first fight in the UFC. Like,
yep.
I mean, there's a lot of narrative that, like, he was going to lose. And honestly, he should have been finished in the second round. But that fucking ref is like, yeah, I mean, go ahead. This
one is less of a hot take, but still a hot take. This, though.
Yeah. I mean, Justin, we can bet, like suspension from the channel if you're wrong. Like, my channel, not Wiz. I don't make decisions on Wiz's, but I do.
Yeah, I'm not going to the championship.
Is that the one? That's the 24th, right?
Yeah, day after Thanksgiving. There's no way.
Yeah, that's the best day of the year. You know that.
No, I don't. Why is it the best day of the year?
Number 46 for old Lou over here.
Woo! I didn't know that was your birthday.
Uh-huh.
Okay. What are you doing?
Hopefully what I do every year, not paying for drinks at the bar.
Let's go.
Which is what I do every Friday. But it's at least when I go and it's my birthday, it's like I can justify it.
Justin, Spurs, I think, have a good matchup today.
Wemby,
I did not bet them. I took Wemby points, rebounds, and assists over 24.5. And then I took their center, the rookie center, Lively, over 7.5 rebounds. I think that kid just jumps for every fucking rebound he hustles for. So I think that should be easy. Against the Mavs team that does not defend centers well, I think Wemby's going to have a good one.
All right, well, that's all I got. And then my show's next week. I don't even know who my goddamn guest is next week for the prop show. I know who my guest is for the pay-per-view, but I don't know who my guest is for next week. Are you volunteering? I have a guest. I just don't know who it is.
I can volunteer. I can join.
I have 2 open slots, Wiz. I'll get you on the one that's not the Chinese card because I don't know how I could ask anybody in the community to fucking do that card. But I had another one that was decent.
To suffer.
I think I have a feeling it's like 138 MMA next week, or it might be Effie. It's one of them.
If it's Effie, I want to be there.
and then Blood Money is doing the pay-per-view, supposedly. Again.
Allegedly,
but also really. He's like, I swear to God, I'm available. I'm like, all right, dude. But that's it. And then like my usual nonsense, next week.
Awesome.
I haven't even looked at the card. I haven't looked at the card next week. I know some people are like already putting bets in. I get it. I like the week off, dude. I like the week off for me is like, leave me the fuck alone.
Yeah. No, there's some good spots. Just looking at it right now. Good parlay spots, I would say. But yeah, that is the show. We will see y'all next week for another episode of NFL Bell. Until then, let's make some money.